It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. Today, we welcome a former standout from the NBA ranks. He was selected by the Sacramento Kings in the first round of the 1997 NBA draft as the 11th overall pick. From there, he spent the next 6 seasons playing for the Kings, the Orlando Magic, the Denver Nuggets, and the Dallas Mavericks. He was the first player to be raised in France and play in the NBA.
Up ahead to Jason Kidd. Kidd down the right side. Crosses the three-point line, tries to break through, and it's stolen by Jason Williams. Here's the lob for Abdul-Wahad, and he scores. A pretty play.
We now welcome Tariq to this live stream of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's Listen In with KNN, the sports sound of the district. We bring you the biggest guests, great analysis, and the hottest sports stories in the nation's capital and beyond. And we bring it to you live. Welcome to this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN. Here's your host, Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome into another live edition of Listen In with KNN sports talk radio show and podcast. We usually do Thursdays and Saturdays, but we're doing a special Tuesday episode because this Thursday is Thanksgiving. Happy early Thanksgiving to everyone. Looking forward to some good basketball, some good football. This is why we love November. So much going on. And speaking about basketball, it's never quiet in the NBA. Decided to bring in a former NBA player to the show to join me today to break down his life, his passions, but also, yes, touching on today's game. And again, lots happening in the NBA. LeBron, we got suspensions. We got a lot going on, but we've also got some good basketball going on here in Washington. So we're going to kind of touch on all of that. You guys heard the intro. So joining me on today's show is none other than Tariq Abdul-Wahad, a former NBA and a San Jose State University star. He played for the NBA Sacramento Kings, Orlando Magic, Denver Nuggets, and Dallas Mavericks. So without further ado, please help me welcome none other than Tariq to the show. Tariq, happy Tuesday. How are you today?
Yeah, I guess it's Tuesday. Everything's good, Kelsey. Thanks a lot.
I know, it's like you have to remember. It's like so many things happen in the week, Tariq. I'm like, okay, it's Tuesday. Get my mind right and remembering that. But how are you this Tuesday, Tariq? How's your day been?
I'm good. I went to the Kings game yesterday. I saw Drummond picked 23 rebounds.
Yes, crazy. Crazy.
It looked like a grown man playing with 8th graders.
Nobody else can even get close, right? It's crazy.
I don't know what's going on. To believe that this guy is playing for the mid-level exception at $2.4 million, and he absolutely wrecked the game.
Crazy.
He wasn't even looking at the basket. He was at the top, handing off, grabbing rebounds, handing off, setting screens.
Making it look easy.
And I'm looking up like, this dude has 20 rebounds. I don't know what.
Crazy. And this is something you know something about, getting those rebounds. But I mean, he makes it look easy, Tariq. It's like
not 23 of them. And this dude is out here with his beard, smiling, and he's all having fun, blocking shots. I was like, this is another thing there.
It's crazy. And, talking about the Sacramento Kings, I know somebody else that's been kind of in the headlines lately is Tristan Thompson, right? And talking kind of about what he wants from this team and what he expects from this team. So just curious your thoughts on the Kings and how well you'll think they'll do this basketball season.
Well, I mean, Tristan had a great game yesterday. He came in the third, brought the energy, everything. The fans seem to love him.
Yeah.
But it's tough for Sacramento. They're in a transitional period. They're going to have to make a serious decision. They have good young talent. You know, Fox is basically an all-star. Halliburton is coming on extremely strong. But it's a young team with a few veterans. I mean, it's rough. It's rough because, I mean, you have to compete against teams who can line up 4 all-stars in the West. So, I mean, I don't know I don't know from what end you start to begin the process. So they might have to. I mean, I was talking with a scout, international scout from the Houston Rockets today, as far as what could they do to make this make sense. And I was telling them, maybe you get guys like Drummond. You get guys who people for some reason don't understand how good they are because maybe they have a little attitude or they have a little sass and, you know, they have a little history and whatnot. And you mix that with a few young guys and you look for a coach that's a young Doc Rivers back in the days, like when he took us in Orlando. I mean, we were ready to die for this guy. Right. You got to have a coach that really makes you hungry. Right. And you got to send these guys on a mission because it's tough for small market teams to attract prime free agents.
It's true. Like, I mean, let's be honest, Tariq. Probably no one's running or signing up to go to Sacramento, right? I mean,
They're not. It's a really tough. I mean, it's a really tough job to actually handle.
Right. And, you know, to that point, you know, we talk about good coaching, but I feel like from a player's perspective, let's talk about that, Tariq. I was going to say NBA talk till later, but you've got me excited now to talk NBA basketball. What would you say makes a good NBA coach? Like, what do the guys in the locker room really need to succeed?
Listen, I was coached by Doc Rivers at the Orlando Magic when we were picked to win 5 games. Right. And that year, he got Coach of the Year. I was traded midseason. But I saw what a coach of the year is, right? And basically, you have to do 2 things. One, you have to command the respect of the locker room in the sense that they have to look at the coach as if the coach is either a father figure or a big brother figure.
Right.
Right? So it's most likely someone who's played, who commands respect, and so on and so forth. And 2, if you manage to do 1, then players will do anything for the guy.
Right.
I mean, you guys don't understand. It's very psychologically, it's weird because players get paid more than coaches. So you have to find a way as a coach for your players to identify as a leader, the absolute leader of the pack. And Doc was a master at that. I mean, we would have died for this guy. We would have. I'm not making this up. The team finished 500, and we didn't have. I mean, we weren't talented like teams are talented today.
Yeah.
Hardest working team, came to train, came to practice, helped each other, talked good about each other. This is something that actually struck me. One of the first meeting he had, he said it's mandatory for players when they're talking to the media after the game to praise their teammate. Let me think about it. The dude is telling you you can't talk about yourself. Right. You have to talk about your teammates. It sets the tone right there.
Right.
And
that's
oh, absolutely. But he's full, and he's this guy. I mean, I talk about Doc Rivers because that's the best coach I've ever had. So he was a great understanding of what it was or what it is to be a player. That's why he's so successful as a coach.
Yeah, and you're talking about Doc, and of course we know his accolades. Let's talk about Doc today. What do you want to see from Doc today, Tariq? How do we get more success?
Well, I mean, first of all, guys have to get healthy. I mean, what is he going to do? You're not going to go with this bottle of water and go on the court and produce points. I mean, if the players are not healthy, they're not healthy. Yeah. But what I saw from Philly yesterday was outstanding. A team of young guys played extremely disciplined, shared the ball, played solid defense, worked hard, and Drummond obviously was, head and shoulder above everybody else as far as his impact on the game.
Right.
But the way the basketball they produced yesterday was amazing. was amazing, even though they didn't have their stars on the court.
Right. Right. And I think that needs to be taken into acknowledgement. And, talking about coaching, Tariq, you know this firsthand because you've also been a coach. Now, we're not talking about the NBA level, but still a coach is a coach, and that's on any level. And so you got experience, right? Women's basketball assistant coach at Cal State Monterey Bay. And then also we're the boys basketball coach, right, at Lincoln High School in San Jose. So let's talk about that from your perspective. And let's talk about what kind of made you effective as a coach and kind of what you took from your playing days that you tried to instill into these young players.
Well, the only way you can gauge success at that level is if the players, because it's not really about winning or losing. High school, I'm sorry, but high school basketball or Division II women's basketball is not necessarily only, I should say, about the winning and the losing. It's how you impact these young women and men to become better people. So the impact is now. When you get the messages on LinkedIn and the coach, thanks a lot for everything you did for us. Thanks a lot for everything you did for me. I just got a job. I got a baby. That's what it's about. You realize that you're impacting a life beyond the X's and O's. And that is what makes it exciting, actually, coaching young men and young women who are becoming, in a sense. And that's where sports is important in any society.
Right. You talk about that. And I love that you especially have experience coaching on the women's side of things. Because as women's basketball, Tariq, is growing like crazy. The numbers, we're seeing more watching the WNBA, seeing more watch collegiate basketball. Just from your coaching perspective, because for some reason we still have people that are saying, oh, it's so different watching girls versus guys. I want to hear from you, Tariq, as a man.
Maybe people might not know this.
Yeah.
My mom in France was a professional basketball player.
Yes.
I grew up in women's basketball. I don't know what men's basketball is about. I have no idea. I have pictures of myself with a little 6-year-old kid with a giant fro and a basketball and a big belly. And my mom is taking me to the game. My mom played pro ball until she was 46 years old.
Amazing.
She started because she used to run track. Actually, she started late. So she started. No, I should 46. I should have said 36. I'm sorry.
Okay.
She started basketball at 22 years old after running track. And then her small little neighborhood team just got better and better and better. And then she moved with my dad. They moved to near Paris area.
Right.
And then she signed up on the team and they got better and better. And next thing you know, she's in the top league in women's basketball in France. She's playing European championship. So she goes to work. She has to quit work on Tuesday to go to Novosibirsk, Siberia in Russia on Wednesday and comes back from the game the next Tuesday. I'm thinking, my mom is a basketball player. It's the craziest thing. But so I grew up in women's basketball. To me, it's absolutely normal.
Yeah.
There is no, I don't know what the fuss is about. Basketball is basketball. Just whether it's played by
that part, Tariq. And I think in America somehow we have to get that in our heads. I think overseas we kind of I see more support of it overall from guys. But there's still guys that are like, oh, well, girls aren't doing the same thing and blase. Tariq, basketball is basketball, and you learned on the top level. And I'm glad that you mentioned your mom had an illustrious career, and I'm sure you learned a lot of your game, right?
Absolutely. The hustle and the drive and working hard. Absolutely, these values are absolutely given early on by your parents like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, talking about parents, I also want to talk about you. You're also a father. So let's talk about the kids. How are the kids doing, Tariq?
So my kids, I have 3 kids. The oldest is 22 now. The middle one is 21, I think. And the youngest, I don't even know. And the youngest is just turned 19. And my oldest is a soccer player at Holy Names in Oakland, California. A small private school. And the other 2 are tennis players. They're tennis players, and they are in the circuit. So my daughter is on the circuit, working her butt off, trying to make a name for herself. It's very hard. And my youngest son decided to just go to school online and pursue sports. So he
amazing. So you're a proud pop Basically, you have lots to be happy about, Tariq. That's why that smile's on that face.
No, life is good. Yeah, life is good. There's crazy stuff out there, but here life is good.
Life is good. Excited to hear that. And we're talking on your parenting. We're talking about you growing up. I don't want to talk more about you growing up in France. Let's just kind of talk about, so it's obvious you got your love of basketball, right, from your mom, but you also grew a love of arts early, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You grew up too far from the Louvre. And I've been there before. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So I want to kind of talk about what it was like for you being a young guy, kind of finding your way in France.
Well, it's very strange in the sense that when you're Afro-European, so you have to understand, so there's a whole bunch of dynamics you have to understand.
Right.
The French population, the Black people are from either African descent, whether their parents worked in France or whatever, or Caribbean descent. Right. I'm from Caribbean descent, being from French Guiana. Both my parents are from French Guiana. So they moved to France in the 60s, whatever, to find a job, whatever.
Right.
But there's an Afro-European culture in France. But when I say Afro-European, I mean Afro-European. It cannot be separated from the European aspect, just like you would have a Jamaican Brit, for example, like Idris Elba, for example, he has a very specific Afro-British culture, and that's something that get lost in the cracks. So you grew up in Europe, and Europe, you go outside. I mean, come hell or high water, it's all about art. It's all about how people dress. It's all about etiquette. It's all about things that look good, taste good. It's different. It's not necessarily as much about consumption that it is about appreciation of things.
Right.
So, America is about consuming things. It really is. I mean, I've been in this country for a while. It's about consuming. You see what I'm saying by that? France, England, and other European countries, it's a little bit more finesse. It's a little bit more refined in a sense, right? So the Afro culture, all the Afro-Europeans have been influenced by European art, European culture, and this is why this mix is so different.
Right.
It's different. Yeah. And not better or worse, but it's just different.
It is. And I'm glad you touched on that, because I'm sure your childhood over there, much different, obviously, than when you came over here. But like you said, the things that you kind of catered to and learned from. And since you talked about fashion being different, I got to ask you, so you probably saw our guy, Kyle Kuzma, here in Washington, D.C., rocking that.
Yeah, he was tripping. All
right. I was going to ask you,
Kuz was tripping. Kuz was tripping. The body was 4X and the sleeves were like 8XL. He was tripping.
I didn't get it.
What is he doing?
In DC, but I didn't get it.
No, that's not right. Yeah, right. And nothing wrong with pink. But bro, how did you grab your phone? I don't know. I'm just asking.
The best part of that, if you watch the video, he had to pull up the sleeves to open the locker room door. See, come on, we don't need to be doing that, Kuz.
It's complicated. It's complicated.
A fashion statement, I just don't know, Tariq. I had to ask you, from France in the NBA, so it doesn't sound like it'll catch on. But you know what?
That was too much. You went too far.
He went just a bit too far. Okay, let's go back to France. And you kind of started a legacy, right? At the time when you were drafted, right? The only NBA player born and raised in France. You were the first player to be raised in France and play in the NBA. I want to kind of talk about what that weight has meant to you when it happened for you, and what did it mean to be able to represent your home country of France at the top level in the NBA?
No, it was hard. It was hard because I'm the kind of guy who I don't mind saying what I think, right? I speak the truth. I mean, I speak my truth, whatever. But when you're the first one, in hindsight, now that I'm older and a little bit smarter and wiser, I understand that. But when you're the first one, you're the first one who's going to get the punches.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of responsibility.
Right, yeah. You're the first one who's going to get the recognition, right? But you're also the first one who's going to get traded. So they're going to say, he must suck. He gets traded. Nah, that's business. That's how it works. That's the league. Players get traded, right? So you're the first one who's going to get cut. You're the first one so you're the first one. So they're talking and they're not necessarily talking positive. Right. But at the same time, even the perception changes as different other French players go through the system, and some of them have great success, like Tony Parker, Boris Diaw. Some of them have great careers, and some of them, it's harder, and so on and so forth. But
Right.
at the end of the day, what needs to be remembered though is that France, who is actually not a country that is understood by any part of the world to be a
Mm,
basketball country,
yeah.
is the country that produces the most NBA players
Mm,
coming from outside the United States.
yeah.
And that's thanks to what I talked to you about earlier,
Right.
this African diaspora, Caribbean diaspora that
Yeah.
comes to France and that mixes, it's kind of a mix of both cultures. So
Right.
they benefit from, they have a great training center in France. So the kids who come from the hood around Paris,
Right.
they get seen, they get selected, they go to the national training center, they get better, and these are the guys you see in the league now.
That's huge. And, you talk about the French players. And, how do we get some more respect on France, Tariq, and talking about just the great players and athletes that it produces? Because you're talking about it, and like you said, I don't think it gets enough recognition. But to your point, we've seen a lot of great French players, right, make their way in the NBA. I mean, Tony Parker, I know, is going to be the one that everybody talks about.
Obviously, yeah.
There's a list of them. And even now, when you look at today's game, we're continuing to see it. So how do we get more recognition on France basketball, Tariq?
Well, I mean, France went as far as they can go. Didn't they go to the finals of the Olympics recently? That was it. I mean, if you think about it, obviously you're not going to beat the U.S. You might in a group game, but they might let you get one, right?
The U.S. has some players this basketball.
But at the end of but in the finals, you ain't gonna win. But
Right.
at least you're there, right?
True.
But to be honest, it's such a different world. Like, this is what French basketball has a hard time to understand. They're trying to, but be careful, huh? In France, they're acting like, yeah, we trained these guys, we made these guys. Not quite. Let's not go that far, right? Because a lot of these kids come to college. A lot of these kids have a very good understanding of what American basketball is, because we grew up on American basketball. We don't watch the French championship when you're little. You don't watch the French championship talking about, I want to be the best French player.
Right.
You're watching college basketball and you're watching the league. And
Right.
you tell yourself, I want to be either in college or I want to be in the league. But you're not looking at the team that's down the street, even if it's a pro team. You're not looking at that team thinking, I want to play here for the rest of my life.
Right.
So America is so strong in that sense that it permeates throughout the world, that French, Afro-European French kids who play basketball have their role models. They're the same role models as these kids from New York, California, DC. They're the same sports role models.
Yeah, the same one. And when you talk to, I'm curious, do you still talk to like any young French players, Tariq, that kind of reach out to you for advice on getting to that next level? Because like you said, they're watching the college basketball games, they're watching the NBA games. And even if you haven't, what advice would you give to those young French players that want to make it and succeed on that top level in the NBA?
Now, first, you got to work hard. I mean, there is no, it's so cliche to say, but there has to be a level of borderline obsession.
Yeah, with the game.
Yeah, with the game. It's kind of weird in a sense. So either it's two things. Either you obsessed or you pissed off at something.
Yeah.
Something messed you up in your life and you're mad and you're going to make it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to channel one of the two.
Right.
Because talent, they all have it. All these guys at the top D1 level in college, the top, they all have talent.
Everyone's good.
There is no such thing as, it slipped through the cracks. These days are over. You got 6'6" point guards jumping out the gym. You got dudes who've been playing like the little Ball brother. This dude's been playing basketball in his mom's womb.
Yeah. Out the womb dribbling.
Yeah, he's out there. There is no, it's work. Right. And even guys like this, they work. So it's really work. Keep your head down. Keep your head down. Don't be distracted with this, that, or whatever. Keep your head down and work on your game. And then when you get there, pass it forward. Tell the guy who's behind you the same exact thing.
Passing it forward. And I think that's not spread enough because, I understand sports they're competitive, right? Everyone's Tariq, trying to keep their spot. But I think that's a message that does need to resonate, that look, pass the information down. You're helping others along the way, and it can't only be you, right? And you're not to the top. You don't stay at the top, right?
No, you don't.
It's going to be somebody else. Like right now, curious your thoughts, Tariq. Who would you say is the best basketball player right now in the NBA?
Why is that? Why are you asking me that question? Why
I'm
is it?
asking that just because I'll tell you why, Tariq. Because you're not going to stay at the top, right? So one time it was MJ, right? Some might say it's LeBron now. Some say it's KD now. I'm just curious your thoughts on that, because it's always going to be what? It's always going to be changing. And also perspective, I think, plays a role in that too, right, Tariq? Because we all have a different top.
So how I was raised, because it has to do with how you're raised now. I don't care what anybody says. It has to do with what you lived and what you've experienced. LeBron James, hands down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear about the hate. I don't even care. He can elbow a boy in the face. I don't care. I don't care. This is not, LeBron James is not normal. He's abnormal in the world of abnormal.
The anomaly and the abnormal world, right?
Absolutely. And people need to start to understand this. It's not about, and I'm not saying LeBron James is the best player in the world because he wins necessarily.
Right.
I say he's the best player in the world because this has never been seen.
Mm-hmm.
Since high school.
Yeah.
They are on this guy. Since high school.
Right.
That's 50 years ago, seems like. Yeah. And this guy is still here.
Yeah.
And his game went through 15 transformations. He can play whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants to do on the court.
Yeah.
And you know what's even more amazing? He is unselfish.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me, that's it. That it closes the case. And I grew up on Michael Jordan. Don't get it twisted. I grew up on Michael Jordan. I grew up on Jordan and Pippen and whatever. But at some point, guys, it's a team sport.
Team sport, yeah. And to that point, I want to ask you that. I want to talk about the Kyrie situation. Kyrie Irving, right? Not wanting to get vaccinated. And some people said that was selfish, right? You have a team that you should be playing for. There was a team, obviously the rest of the team decided to get vaccinated, whether they wanted to or not, but because they had a job to do, right? And every team should be chasing a championship. So I'm curious just on your thoughts on what you just said about being a team, being unselfish. Did you think that move of Kyrie Irving was unselfish, or did you kind of respect him wanting his own right to not be vaccinated?
I don't even understand it. I don't think he understands. It's not even a question of selfish or unselfish. It's selfish on a societal level. Mm-hmm. This is a global pandemic. And there's such a thing as public health.
Right.
It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
This is public health.
All of
that means what am I going to do to make sure that overall the society in this situation can deal with this problem? That's it. That's as far as it goes. And I understand that you might have reservation as far as the vaccine and so on and so forth.
Right.
But those reservations, once we're talking about public health, they have to go. Right. They have to go. Unless you're willing to stay home and not go outside and lock yourself in a room, then that's fine. But if you're going to live a regular life, those concerns have to go if you are a decent citizen.
Right.
This is not even sports. Do you understand what I'm saying? The debate.
About all of us, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's not vaccinated, right, that impacts everybody, like you said, because it's all of us. When you have to go out in public, right? Even if you're just going to get the mail. And this is why, unfortunately, we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah, no, we are. Because the freedom, quote unquote, the sense that in America you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right.
But it doesn't apply in such situations. It doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't. Historically speaking, it doesn't. And the ones who did not understand that, well, some of them actually paid serious consequences. I'm not talking about my back hurts. I'm talking about my auntie's dead. I'm dead.
Right. No longer here. People that are no longer here with us. Right.
So public health is something that I have some. I like. It's important to me because I care about people. I
And that's a good thing. That's how we should all be. And I had to ask you that again because we're talking about just how it's more than just us. And we're on this American team, right? We're on a societal team, really. It's all of us in society just trying to win and compete together. And going back to LeBron, you talked about him being a team player, being unselfish, being the greatest right now. With him being the greatest, do you think he's going to be great enough to lead the Lakers to another championship this year?
Ooh, that's tough. That's very tough. Yeah. I don't put it past him, but it's hard. Yeah. It is actually hard. It's not, guys, let's go. It's 5 of us. Let's get her done. That's not the way this works. A lot of moving parts, a lot of things have to fit. Right. Obviously, Russell Westbrook has to fit. Yeah. He knows he has to fit. I'm a big fan, by the way. Love Russ.
We miss him in DC, Tariq. But the Wizards are doing good. I got to say that. We miss Westbrook. We're happy.
So that's what I'm saying. So think about what I just said. DC just put in like 8 pieces together. Yeah. Right? Complete from places like you wouldn't even think like, what? This dude with this dude with this dude with that dude with that dude. But what? They mad. They pissed off. These boys mad. They mad because they didn't get they pissed off. Right? So they're going to play together. They're going to guard somebody. They're going to stay in front of people. They're going to play defense. Yeah. And they're going to win games.
And that's what they're doing.
They said it before the season started.
Yeah.
So this type of chemistry, that's what the Lakers have to find. Mm-hmm. The problem is the Lakers, they already ate.
Right.
They already ate. So it's harder to find it because you're already, I'm full. They're full already.
Yeah.
So if they find it, to an extent, they're talented enough that they're going to make a run. But if they don't find it, I don't know that they're getting out the second round.
Yeah. And if they don't, Tariq, how big of a disappointment would that be for the Lakers organization? With what all these things they did to put together, right?
It's the Lakers. As much as I'm NorCal, and when I came to this country, it's NorCal. Lakers is Lakers. It's win or bust. There is no in between. It's win or bust. So they might have to give it maybe another go because still LeBron has good years and Anthony Davis is amazing. So it's about what pieces, and obviously Russ is amazing. So what are the pieces that are going to go around these 3 guys in the next, how big's the window? Maybe 3-4 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Right? That's maybe. Mm-hmm.
How are we going to move the pieces around those 3 to get something done? But it's not, you could tell that it was going to be tricky before it even started.
Right. And like you said, it was a lot of names coming together, right? Trying to mesh, like you said, find that chemistry. You talked about that being mad. Like you said, the guys at DC have something to be mad about, right? They're all of a sudden find themselves in DC on a Wizards team that, let's just be honest, Tariq, not many were expecting a lot from. They just didn't know how it was going to work. Bradley Beal's there. He's been asking for help for a while now, gets the help, and now they're seeing success. Where the Lakers, on the other end, you have guys that want to be there. Who doesn't want to be in LA? Who doesn't want to play with LeBron, right? And all of a sudden now we have questions because the process that we were trusting, Tariq, wasn't working like we thought it would. And like you said, it's kind of like now them all coming together and making it work. Still lots of basketball left in the season, but excited to see where the Lakers go. But again, I think the expectations are high. And also while we're talking about the Lakers, Tariq, I got to ask you, kind of mentioned it before. We got to talk about that incident that just happened, this elbow that LeBron gave the guy, Isaiah Stewart. I just want to get your thoughts on that situation because the face, all the blood, and I don't blame Isaiah. If my face looked like that, Tariq, after an elbow, I probably would be the same way. It's going to be hard for anybody to hold me back.
He was grabbing him.
Yeah.
He was grabbing him. He was grabbing it, but oh boy, elbowed him though. He elbowed him.
He did. You watched the replay. He did.
He felt some dude grab him and he just stuck his elbow out. But he got hot. That's why he got heated.
Yes, that was a whole other level of anger.
He was running around. And,
and
you know what I was thinking? Oh yeah, you guys talk all this jazz about NBA players, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead, get in front of that dude and let's see if you can stop him.
Look.
You understand? Regular human beings are not the size of NBA players.
It got tested, that's
People
right.
People don't understand that. They running in front of him. And they're flying off like rag dolls.
Basically, and that's what we saw. And like you said, you guys aren't the same. Like, you're what, 6'6", Tariq?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us aren't that size, Tariq. So I wouldn't be foolish enough to stand in front of you and do something crazy like that, Tariq. Tariq, have you ever been tried? Anybody ever try you?
No, I'm not. I'm a non-violent man. I don't believe in violence.
There we go.
I don't believe in violence. I'm too lazy to fight.
Too lazy to fight. Well, again, I hope no one would be crazy enough to do that. All right, we're talking about the NBA. I was going to talk about college basketball with you, but let's talk about your NBA career. You're originally selected as the 11th pick in the draft, Sacramento Kings, back in 1997. What a draft class that was. Played 8 seasons in the NBA. We're already starting to get questions in. Let's go to our first fan question from Jamel Cutler. Do you have any? Chris, you're already in the face. So tell us the story now, because now
Chris is a great guy. He's a great guy. I played against him in college at Fresno when he was at Fresno State. Yeah. And I was at San Jose State. He's a good dude. I love what he's doing now. I mean, he has a foundation that does the Heron Project.
Yeah.
That works on substance abuse issues and whatnot. No, dude, this dude is legit in my heart, even though I haven't talked to him in years.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in years. He's a good dude. I'm not going to give you any spicy stories in Denver. It's just seeing his name. No, it's not happening. But seeing his name on the screen just makes me feel great. He's a good person. I'm so happy how what he's doing now is great. Yeah. Chris Heron. He could ball. He could ball. This dude is good. He's a bad boy. That dude is a bad boy.
He could. And, talking on that, why don't we just talk about some of the teammates in the NBA that you just kind of cherish and kind of help? Let's say it just made your game better, made you want to play more for them, going back to the team aspect that we talked about earlier in the show.
No, I mean, there's 3 guys that really stand out to me, and they might not know it, but they had a tremendous impact on my life and how I see things.
Yeah.
There's one guy above all of them. It's Hakeem Olajuwon. Obviously, we're Muslims, so we're Muslim brothers. We love each other, but that's a different conversation.
Right.
Ben Wallace, Bo Outlaw, and Darrell Armstrong were the 3 teammates I had in Orlando, and these 3 guys, they were extremely different from who I was, right? Because we're talking about Afro-European, and you go against 3 guys from the South.
Yeah.
Right? One from Texas. One from Texas. One from Virginia. I think Bennis might be from Virginia. And I think Darrell is from the South.
The real South.
The real South. And I don't know where that is for him, but it was there. But these 3 guys are so genuine.
Yeah.
They work so hard. They're so generous. They're such good people.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know how to explain it, but it warmed my heart to every day go to work with these guys. And when I was a player, I was not really as it might be a shocker, but I was not really a big talker. I was going to do my job, going about my business.
Yeah.
But these 3 guys really impacted the way I understand things, on not only how hard they worked, but how genuine they were as individuals.
Yeah. And that goes a long way, right? And I would say probably just not on the team side. We talked about the coaching side, but also I'd say probably on the ownership side, right, of basketball as well. Just genuine people that you feel just genuinely care about you and want the best for you, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Think about the difference in sociological position that an owner would have next to a player, would have next to a fan,
right?
Or owner, GM, coach, player. Owners have generational wealth, so the system was designed for them to be successful since birth, right? Coaches and players had to work for every inch, and they usually come from popular backgrounds,
right?
So when you have an owner who can actually, some of them had to come up, right? Some of them had to come up.
Of course.
Obviously. But when you have an owner that can actually relate to his staff and to his players, not the fake relate, not the fake thing, not the, it's not the fake relate, the real relate, the thing that this person is a good person. Like, I wish this dude was my granddad or whatever.
Right.
Then you're onto something. then you're onto something. Because I'm a firm believer that it starts from the top.
It has to. I'd say it has to, right? And I think when
Yeah.
you see good basketball teams, the ownership is strong, right? And the ownership level is strong, and then it trickles down.
Yeah.
And at that point, Tariq, just curious from your professional basketball career, was there any owner that stuck out to you that you just think was that real guy, that you could relate to, one that you thought just kept it 100, one that made the overall basketball organization strong, and what it was?
I did not see that. Not at the ownership level.
Okay.
I saw it at the coaching level.
Right.
And maybe at the GM level. With what was his name? Doc Petrie or something at Sacramento. He was pretty good as a GM. I remember him. He had a good presence about himself. Yeah. But coaches, absolutely. Doc Rivers, absolutely. Rick Adelman, leaders.
Yeah.
Leaders of men.
They
could tell you, they could come. Rick Adelman once on the plane, because we have a fairly strict, we don't, Muslims are kind of serious. We're not out there in the club partying, acting stupid when we're young. Right. We're kind of serious.
Yeah.
And this man is an old man. He's my dad's age. He came to me on the plane and said, "I have so much respect for you." I was like, "Dude, what the hell is this grown man talking about?" And he said, this white man from California, this older white man from California is telling me, "Well, I love the way you conduct yourself. I wish I could, emulate some of the things." I'm like, I'm 23 years old, 24 years old. I'm a rookie in the league. And this guy noticed how I carried myself and he was impressed by it. Things like this leave an impact where when leaders are humble.
That humble word, that's huge. That's huge.
It is.
The humbleness. And I think that's, like you said, not something that we see, every day. And you touched on being Muslim in the NBA. I do also want to talk about that. You talked about it. You can't go out to the clubs and kind of this lifestyle that people put in their heads, right, of NBA players. You're not doing all this. So just curious, Tariq, if there were any challenges for you being Muslim in the NBA at the time that you were playing. Because I think now, we've had Inez Cantor on this show, now maybe it's a little bit more, we see norms changing, right? And we see kind of more like we see the prayer room, right? That was built inside a facility. But when you were playing, I'm not going to say back in the day, Tariq, you're not that old, but when you were playing during your playing days, let's talk about that experience and what it was like for you, again, being Muslim in the NBA, being French in the NBA, all of this kind of combining to you also growing as a man, right? At the same time while you're playing professional basketball.
No, it was what was tricky was September 11th was a weird moment. I'm not gonna lie, because obviously the country is attacked by Muslim terrorists. You're Muslim, some people assume that maybe you're sympathetic to their cause or whatever, which is not obviously the case. You're like, what the hell? So it's kind of weird. I was in Denver at the time, so. Not that there were any public backlash or anything crazy or stupid, but we have to remember what happened to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Mahmoud took a stance,
right?
Didn't go well for him. They traded him away and so on and so forth. So I was right after that. I was there right after that during September 11th. So to some extent that you are different, but it's the same thing. It's in hindsight. People understand who you are in hindsight later on in life. And then they go, yeah, he was right. Like he was onto something. The seriousness and the dedication to being, humble, serious, not go buck wild, not lose your mind, be respectful to people, treat everybody the same. It's something that I hope I managed to convey to a few of my teammates. But I didn't have super bad teammates to the point where, a lot of my teammates had a good sense of what was right and what was wrong and had a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah. Which is good to hear, right? So like you said, nothing like too buck wild, nothing too crazy. They respected their people. I was just curious to hear that. But again, I think we're seeing it move in the right direction. And also I want to talk about when you converted, right, to Islam, converted to being a Muslim. This was back in college, right?
It is.
University. And as I believe, you had 2 roommates, right?
Yeah.
Were Muslim. So talk about kind of what that process was like for you and just how did you know it was the right choice for you?
No, I knew it was the right choice because I knew it was going to make me a better person. At the end of the day, at that time, that's what I was thinking about. Like, dude, just what is going to guide you towards positive things, which means, like we talked about earlier, being respectful to people, being good to your parents, being good to the people around you, being dedicated in what you're doing as well. That was important. That was good because it kind of put the focus on what you need to do, and you're not all over the place. You're not trying to impress anybody. You're not trying to do anything out of the norm. So you're really trying to lock in into what your goals are and how far you want to go. That's the power of faith in my understanding of things. Whether Muslim, Christian, Jewish, that's irrelevant which one it is. But it focuses your mindset into what you need, what needs to get done. It gives you hope when it's rough. It gives you hope, and it keeps you going. I mean, at the end of the day, if I was not Muslim, I don't think I probably wouldn't have made it, right? Because it really kept me on task.
Yeah, like you said, it kept you going. And I think faith it gives us something to believe in, right? Something to kind of follow through and continue on. And, I'm curious, when you made that decision, was there anybody that you consulted, or really was it just a you decision, Tariq?
No, so France is already 10% Muslim. So I knew a lot of Muslim people. A lot of my friends were Muslim in France. I mean, if you grew up in France, you have interaction with a whole bunch of the North African population that moved up to France and that are Muslims. So Islam was not foreign to me.
Right.
But I had a few friends. I had an Egyptian student that was a dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
And and it's college. Once you're done with your homework, once you're done with midterms, what you gonna do? You sit there and you talk. Yeah, you talk about life. You try to figure out what the hell is going on, right? And so it's really talking, reading, that I was like, at some point I said, yeah, I think this is the right thing for me. So it's really a combination of my own introspection with meeting the right people, I think.
And then you go through the name change, Tariq, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. And also, like, how receptive was everybody to that, Tariq?
Everybody but my uncle. My uncle to this day.
Yeah, he's still not agreeing with it.
It's like, who are you talking about? Who? Olivier? Olivier, yeah, my nephew. Yeah, this dude does not use my Muslim name. He doesn't care. You say, I don't care what y'all doing. Hey, this dude, I know when he was little, I called him Olivier. I'm going to call him Olivier until the end. I was like, all right, that's fine. So my uncle, we had one holdout. Everybody else was fine.
Pretty good though. One holdout out of all the other people.
One holdout.
I'll take that one holdout.
So, but no, my parents were fine. It took them a little bit, getting used to it because I was raised Roman Catholic.
Oh,
so,
okay. Yeah. So that was it's different, right?
Yeah. I was raised Catholic. So it took them a while, especially my mom, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But then after that, I mean, listen, the French Guyanese culture is super supportive. We know where we come from. We know it was a struggle for generations and generations.
Right.
It's not something like this that's gonna make them stop loving you and make them stop helping you out, supporting you and stuff. Yeah, that's stuff.
Love is unconditional, and I'd say also probably French people. I feel like it's Tariq. When I said you're coming on the show, everybody, oh my God, you got Tariq. Like, they're faithful in France, Tariq. I feel like.
They are. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. Plus, I don't talk to the media a lot. Right, I'm busy.
I'm humble, Tariq. I'm humble.
No, because this was right. I said, yeah, this is right. Kelsey is right.
Excited to speak with you, and just enjoying speaking with you. How do you get to go back to France often, Tariq? Now, have you been back lately?
Well, actually, no, I don't really go back. But obviously, with the pandemic and whatnot, I'm not really the guy who goes back. My kids go back sometimes to play tournaments, but not right now because unfortunately, because of the pandemic.
Of course, right.
But I was actually invited to go. At the end of this year, I won't be able to go, but I was invited to go because this guy who created a club in Paris.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool actually what he did.
Yeah.
It's like a select club for the best players in Paris.
Oh wow.
And they travel the world to play against other teams. So they go to France. It's like a Paris AAU team.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And they're pretty good. These kids are D1 level, right? So it's legit. Like, they're legit. And so they went to Serbia, and he invited me in October. They're going to Madrid at the end of the year. He invited me, and I'm like, dude. And his goal is actually to create a prep school in the US.
Oh,
yeah. For all these guys to play 1 year in the US, to be one and done in essence.
Right.
You play 1 year of prep school. And then you get your D1 opportunity.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is great. So he's coming in January. So I told him, you know what, man, I'm not gonna come down. It's gonna be hard in December, But come in January, we're going to sit down. And he's going to present to me the plan and whatnot. And I hope I can help them do something. But yeah,
I know you will, Tariq. Again.
Oh yeah, no, I will. No, it sounds right. Like it sounds super good. It sounds It sounds
going
like
off of that, Tariq, we look at somebody, we talked about the Ball brother. Let's talk about LaMelo Ball, right? Went overseas, played in Europe, and we see just his basketball game. I mean, he's just off the charts, right? Like just playing some really good basketball. And also when we look at European basketball players and where they are by the time they get to the NBA, they a lot of times seem superior. I mean, we can go on and on and on. So I'm just curious, especially based off of what you just said, do you think there's any benefit to like American basketball players, these young guys coming up from high school? Do you think there's any benefit to them possibly thinking about, hey, maybe I should go to Europe? Maybe that could improve my game. Is that something that you would recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. The level is good. First of all, the level is good. And European basketball is more geared towards fundamentals anyway, at the beginning, or at the development stage. They don't really care if you're a big guy or whatever. Everybody's going through the same drills. Everybody's going to learn how to dribble, shoot, and pass. I mean, look at Jokic. I mean, come on, are you serious?
Perfect example. Perfect example.
What are you doing, bro? You're like a 7'1" point guard. It doesn't make any sense as far as his understanding of the game. But that's how they teach it to some extent in Europe, right? So yeah, you finish high school, you're not physically ready maybe to go to the league. Why not? I mean, they're not gonna kill you over there. They got free healthcare, food is good. You're gonna train. No, it's a good. I mean, it's
good healthcare. Isn't it like some free colleges? Or maybe I'm thinking of Argentina, but I'm like, it seems like the U.S. Like you said, it's a way to get good basketball, get good healthcare, get good food. I lived in France briefly for a summer, Tariq. When I say that, I was the healthiest I've eaten, and I was the thinnest I've been. It was. Very nice.
Good. No, Europe is nice. Europe is nice, and I think if a few young players want to experience going to Europe and learning the game and developing themselves as humans. As human beings.
Yeah, it's a good experience.
I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
And to that point, have you been a fan of the NBA and the G League and kind of how that's progressed, Tariq? Do you like kind of that developmental structure for the NBA?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the talent is off the charts now, right? But the principles remain the same. Are you going to play hard?
Right.
Are you going to play unselfish? Mm-hmm. Are you going to play defense? I don't care what your haircut is. If you do these three things, you're going to win games.
Good, yeah.
Right? So a lot of people are making a lot of noise about the NBA changing, but the formula for success is pretty much the same. The players have to buy into the coach, and they have to go out there and work hard for the coach or for the culture of the team, i.e. Miami Heat, i.e. New York Knicks with Thibodeau, i.e. San Antonio Spurs, right? You see where I'm getting at?
Yep. All good examples. And, to that point, I know you've talked about coaches in the past, and I love that we're focusing on coaches because I think coaches are so important in a player's life. Having the right coach can mean the world or the difference sometimes to your career even, right? And making sure that you're in the right system. I know you said this quote. You said a lot of college coaches, and I'm saying this outright, are a bunch of frauds. And you need to write this down. I don't need to name names, but there are a lot of coaches out there who work their way up because they know the right networks, but they're not even good people to start with. So again, to that point, I want to just make sure that we're hammering home to just the importance of good coaches. And I think your experience, right, going to Michigan and going to San Jose State, I would say you must have had, at least seems like, some good coaches, Tariq, because you made it to the top level, right?
But I made it to the top level with understanding where I was and how everything worked.
Right.
So when I'm at University of Michigan playing in front of 20,000 and I can't dribble with the left hand, and I'm not going to learn how to do that at the University of Michigan, I have to go. I have to go learn how to play. Because Coach Fisher doesn't have time to teach me how to play. He's busy trying to win games.
Right.
So each player has to understand what is best for them and how it works better for them. Obviously, we didn't have the transfer portal. We didn't have the Air app, like Coach 30 talking about the Air app and whatnot. We didn't have any of that. So it was not that quick back then.
Right.
But the players who make it, talented, lucky, they work hard. But they also know where they're going. They have a plan. So and sometimes you have to navigate. You have to navigate coaches that are doing this for their career.
Right.
Do you understand the difference between a college coach that does this for himself and one that does this to change men? to make men. That is not the same. That is not the same thing.
Right.
And I don't care what the basketball is, what the philosophy is, what the conference is. You have coaches who coach to make money and become successful in their career.
Yeah.
And then you have college coaches who coach to make men.
Right.
And I mean, Deion Sanders, anybody?
There you go.
Anybody?
There you go. What he's done, look, the job that Deion Sanders has done at Jackson State University.
Tears. I watch that stuff on YouTube. I cry.
Wow. And I think that, that example that you gave, and I mean, the attention he's brought, they just had a sold out game, the attention that he's brought to Jackson State University, HBCU football, Tariq, and just how many people are now watching and what that team has done. And then to have his sons, right, on that too. I mean, it makes it even more special. You can't write this up. It's a movie.
The movie is good.
Yeah, we're watching it. We're going to not stop not going anywhere.
I'm on YouTube looking for what they're saying about HBCU football.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I mean, my wife went to Clark, I'm going to say.
Oh, okay, look at that.
My wife went to Clark. But I didn't know anything about anything. And now I'm like, okay, what is Grambling? Who they got? Who they got
right.
as corners?
You're looking,
who the corners, how this is going to play out, and so on and so forth. Come on.
That's huge, Tariq.
It's amazing.
That's huge. I'm so glad that you brought him up. I can talk to you all day, but I'm not going to take all your time because I know you're a busy man. But I do want to talk about what you've done post basketball. What is this? Part owning. Make sure I'm saying it right because my French is horrible. Telesud, France's first Black TV channel. How did I do?
Yeah, that's old though. That was a few years ago. That was a great project.
How did you get involved in that? That's exciting. I mean,
yeah, that was a great project. It's changed names now. It doesn't have the same name, but they're still operating.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was the first Afro-European television channel that was airing out of France back then. And it was airing in Africa. It was airing in France. It was great. Huge. It was a great project. I had so much fun with that.
What kind of got you involved in that, Tariq?
No, I had a friend who just needed help, and he's like, "Yeah, I think it's going to be a good project. What do you think?" I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, that's a good project." So I was in charge of the branding, and I worked with a few people to get the look of the channel together, and so on and so forth. So. No, this was a very good experience in my life. I remember that.
Because I mean, your resume goes on and on. And then you tell me, are you still doing this part owning the Brazil-based clothing line 610?
Yeah. We're not selling a lot, but yeah.
We gotta promote. Where do we get it from?
No, we don't. No, we don't. We got it. DL. There's some stuff that you got to. But that's years ago, though. That's a few years ago.
Tell me, like, what's now? What's happening now?
No,
I know.
Now, I mean,
basketball academy.
A lot. Okay, so basketball. So this is what happened. So I'm coaching girls basketball. I have a few girls now. All my girls are pretty much in college. Okay. And the year that they went on to school, all the girls I was coaching in my little program there, COVID hit, and they shut down the gyms. So I haven't been in the gym since forever. And all the girls now, after having their redshirt year, now they're playing. So this year is the year that they're actually playing. Yeah, so I'm going to be driving around and seeing all these kids that I've been coaching since the 6th grade that are now college players, right? D1, D2, D3, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch these girls. Then this summer, when they come back from school, we're going back in the gym and work, right? So I got to watch film, see what they need to work on. And we're going to, with this group of like 8 to 10 girls, we're going to go back to work, right?
That's exciting.
That's one thing. Then the tennis. So we have here in the Bay Area, we have like a tennis academy.
Yeah.
Tennis academy, tennis academy.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of kids. We have like 10 to 15 kids.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's fun. The kids, I mean, we have decent talent. I'm not going to lie. So we have a few kids that are going to most likely play college tennis. So I spend a lot of time on that. Okay. And I just got my master's degree in sports management.
Congratulations! That's huge.
It was COVID.
Sports management too.
It was COVID, so I had nothing to do. I was in front of my computer, and I'm like, let me look for a program.
You got classes. Where's that? What school? Where do we get it from?
You're gonna laugh.
I'm not gonna laugh.
I'm not gonna say the name of the school. I'm gonna see if you know the name of the school.
Okay.
This is where Dennis Rodman went to school.
Oh my gosh, you're testing me. I feel like I should have done this on top of my head. You stumped me, Tariq.
Dennis Rodman, the worm.
But you know what? Speaking of Dennis Rodman, I don't know if you know this, but here in DC, the National Women's Soccer League champions, Washington Spirit, do you know his daughter Trinity plays on that team? So his daughter just became
I did not know that.
champion.
I did not know that.
Okay. And she rookie of the year. I mean, she's incredible. So I had to shout out. Like she's not just a player, Tariq. She is like top tier, top caliber player.
So she's on the U.S. Women's National Team?
Yeah, they just won the championship.
Yeah, but Libby, don't sell it. Libby, yeah, Southeast Oklahoma State. We don't.
Everybody pulling it up now. But I did have to shout out Trinity. But amazing, Tariq. I mean, congratulations. And you know, you say that, and the reason I'm really proud of you, I hear more players now going back, Tariq, and getting those degrees. And I'm curious, Tariq, how are you planning? Do you know what you're planning to use it yet? Like, what's the ultimate goal for you, Tariq? Now?
No, I mean, I'm in the sports business. I'm in the sports business. Yeah. I'm in this youth coaching business. That's my job. I mean, that's my job. I organize tournaments. I run a tennis academy. I have a basketball program. So all that stuff is what I'm learning. Like, it's like, it was right up my alley when I started getting the degree. It was like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. That stuff, that is stuff that I needed to know.
Yeah.
Actually.
Like you said, and it's going to carry you a long way. And the great thing, honestly, about a degree, though, is that you can use it anywhere, Tariq.
That's true.
Anywhere.
That's true.
I went to school with people who are not even in sports now, but they got that degree, good programs. Excited for you, Tariq. You have so much again going on. It's been such a delight having you on this show. I do want to end because people asked me this before the show. I know it was rookie year, right, when you got to play against MJ, Tariq?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You know, Peter, there's a lot of MJ fans.
Sure. It didn't end well. It didn't end well. So first of all, before the game, Eddie Jordan, who you know because he coached.
Yep.
So he says, all right, guys, everybody's going to play this game. All right, everybody's going to play. What the hell does that mean? Like, well, are we trying to win or are we trying to, you know, that's the historic Bull. That's an historic Bulls team, right? So everybody, we already know we're going to get in, right? So I'm on the bench and this dude, he goes, hey, put the Frenchie in. Jordan out here talking smack, telling the coach, put the Frenchie in. Put the Frenchie in. I'm like, this dude has some nerves, right? Sure enough, Eddie Jordan executes himself, puts me in. Mm-hmm. The first thing that struck me, so I go and guard Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The first thing that actually struck me is the size of his head. His head is smaller than the rest of his body. But the dude is like chiseled and dark. Like you can feel, like you're not afraid, but you're like, this is Michael Jordan.
Right.
So sure enough, he starts to post me up 3/4 post in the triangle. And he starts backing me down a little bit, you know. And I'm like, dude, I've seen this move 100 times. I've grew up on this move. I know exactly what you're gonna do, man. Why? Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna block it. Don't do it. I got you. I know what you're gonna do. He's gonna start fake the fade away, and instead of fading away right shoulder, he's gonna fade away left shoulder. So he's turning his left shoulder over and he's shooting with his right hand over the left shoulder. And I'm like, oh, yeah, classic. That's your move. I know how to counter your move. Remember, defense is my specialty. So I'm gonna go, instead of going across trying to block it with my right, I'm gonna go straight to his right, trying to block it with my left. Right?
Yeah.
So sure enough, the dude makes his move, shimmies, turns over left shoulder. I contest with my left, and he shoots the ball in my hand, and I touch the ball.
Look at that, Tariq.
Right?
All right, there's more.
I touch the ball from the tip of my finger. And like a good basketball player I am, I just block Michael Jordan's fadeaway. So I box him out and I yell short because I know that this ball is going to be short because it just hit the top of my finger.
Yeah.
It hit the top of my finger. And the ball goes straight in the net.
Oh my gosh.
Straight in. Whop.
That's MJ for you.
And he go, and, you know, and he's backpedaling like this with his small head. He's backpedaling like this.
Yeah, you have the, you know, that kind of run.
Like Rook, what were you thinking? Like all this touch was calculated. You can touch it all you want, bro. It ain't going.
Oh my gosh, good memories, Tariq.
That's when you have a good understanding that there's you and
Yep.
there's them.
There's
It's
that
not the same.
level.
There's that
And
level and there's your level. It's not the same.
And you just have to understand it, right? There's the greatest, and it just is what it is, right? It just is what it is.
It is.
Last question for you, Tariq, because again, I mean, I've so enjoyed this conversation. But since you are a fan of women's basketball, I wanted to get your thoughts on the most recent WNBA championship. What do you think about Candace Parker doing it in her hometown with the Chicago Sky?
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. I don't even think I can stop her. Like, I mean, people talk a lot of jazz and stuff. Yeah. They play a lot of trumpet. But these women can play, man. I don't know what these people are looking at. Yeah. These women can play.
Yeah.
They can play.
Great. It was great.
No, it's good series, offense, defense, fans, versatile players. So, I mean, it's not even, it's to a point where the men's game, as great as it is, the WNBA is actually matching the men's game in greatness.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
It's
true. If
you
look at the players they have,
yeah,
it's just amazing.
Amazing. Tariq, such a pleasure to have you on this show. Again, you were phenomenal and a great guest. Before I let you go, just any last words for the listening audience?
No, thank you for having me. I'm all good. Just stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. There's still a pandemic out there.
That's what it is. Stay safe. Stay safe, please. And stay safe, not just for yourself, but for everybody else out there. Tariq, best wishes to you. Can't wait to see you continue to use that master's degree with all you have going on. Best wishes to all your athletes. Nice. I know they'll be phenomenal and great, and hope the kids stay safe and stay great. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. Really, thank you for having me, Kelsey.
My pleasure, Tariq. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Oh, I love the happy Thanksgiving. Yes, happy Thanksgiving once again. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Tariq was just a phenomenal guest. Truly enjoyed having him on. We'll be back next week after the holidays. We come back on Friday. Sean Merriman, Maryland Gray. You guys know how I feel about University of Maryland, my alma mater, my school, and what I think is the best university. He will be joining me talking about his recent coat drive and all that he has going on. And of course, yes, we'll talk about his football career and so much more. I will see you all later. Thanks again so much. And also check out brand new audio shows that we will be dropping. Episode 200 of the audio shows is coming up. Thank you all for riding with me since the beginning. Can't believe we're almost at 200 audio shows. I actually need to count all these video shows, but also a special thanks to my team. Enjoy good food. Enjoy your family. Make sure people don't touch your Thanksgiving plate. Give them a if they try to come near your plate. Make your own. Make your own. I'm kidding you all. But again, happy Thanksgiving. Have a great one and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, guys.
Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio now offers official Kelsey Nicole Nelson apparel in a variety of styles for men and women. Fashionable shirts, leggings, hats, jackets, and more. Order now and get 15% off and free shipping. Just enter promo code KNN. Get your Listen In with KNN wearables today. And check out Listen In with KNN on Fox Sports Radio with Kelsey Nicole Nelson.
With the season change, it's time to renew your skin with a facial. Schedule an appointment at Skin Beauty Bar. Featured in InStyle magazine and Essence, this staple designation in Capitol Hill offers an array of services from facials, waxing, airbrush tanning, and eyelash lift. Visit their website at skinbeautybardc.com to schedule an appointment.
All About Burger has all of your favorites, from their never-frozen burger to their fresh-cut fries, ice cream, and milkshakes. All About Burger offers the best lunch in the area. If you desire a fresh handmade burger or some delicious ice cream, stop by All About Burger, which is located throughout the DMV. All About Burger, always fresh.
You used to hear me on your airwaves or hear me on my hit podcast, but now I'm taking you to the screen. You'll love Elevator Thoughts. We will talk the latest trending in sports. It's game time. What better way to get to know those that visit the show than over some good food and drink? It's time for confessions.
Follow Kelsey on social media at The Real K Nelson. Catch episodes of Listen In with KNN on YouTube, on air at AM 1340 and 96.9 FM Fox Sports Radio, on Facebook and Twitter, and online at KelseyNicoleNelson.com. Thank you for watching this live stream broadcast of Listen In with KNN.